Why do photographers hate other photographers being happy? Why do they hate other photographers being successful? I tackled this idea a couple of times already on this channel, but it was blown up in my face in an even bigger way whenever recently Tony Northrup made the comment that street photography should end. He made some points about why he believes, I never said they were good points, but he made some points about why he believes it should end. Some of them being, we don't need to document things anymore. Everything's already been documented. Dramatic pause. I don't think anyone has told Tony that outside of his very, I'm sure, suburban Connecticut home that, you know, things are still going on in the world. Homelessness, riots, gentrification of different areas, housing crises. There's a lot of things that walking on the street can tell people. But again, when you live in a position, in a place from a boomer mentality and from mentality of, well, if it doesn't affect me, it doesn't matter, it's easy to say things like this. There's also the idea of consent and needing consent to take photos. And why would you want to take a photo of someone if they don't want their photo taken? Now, again, I'm not trying to bash Tony Northrup. This right here is a conclusion that he jumped to. And you gotta also think on the other side that there are people who don't care if their photo's taken. There are people who like when their photo's taken. And there's also the idea that street photographers don't go out of their way, that is, to single a person out to stalk them and document them. It's just things in passing. Will they be seen? Will they not? They're just lost in the ether that is street photography. Now, there were some points brought up by a lot of other people, but the same issue that I saw, the same way that I saw issues with Tony Northrup's point, is the fact that they're all from people who A, don't shoot street photography, or B, said they never were good at it, so they don't do it now. And this goes into my whole question of, why do photographers not like when other photographers are happy? I'm not saying anything bad about Tony Northrup. I did comment down below and I asked him, hey, have you deleted your own street photography images and your travel photography images? Because if you haven't, this is super hypocritical. See, Tony makes the point that aside from documentary photography, street photography is useless. But now we're getting to the gray area of what is street versus what is documentary, and the simple fact that is well known that they are both one and the same. If you're talking about following someone and stalking them and getting a portrait day by day by day, that's stalking. If you're talking about a photo of someone you will never see again and you may be able to get a side profile, front profile, a funny face, a weird face, the back of their head, etc., that's not stalking someone, that's document the day-to-day life. But when you start talking about things in absolutes, it's easy to poke holes and to hate on them. And again, we still haven't even gotten over the concerning part of he doesn't shoot street photography. Now, I've talked about before where it's always weird to me that photographers who aren't good at a certain type of photography or who aren't good enough to work a certain type of gear, camera system, lens, etc., how they bash that and say something's unprofessional, something's wrong, something isn't, doesn't have merit or of any moral value. That's their go-to, is to talk down on these things when they don't succeed at these things. I guarantee you, if Tony Northrup was making a lot of money off of street photography, as well as a lot of these people that said and echoed the same things as him, a lot of people which said, I don't shoot street, I never liked street, I couldn't get the hang of street, they would be fine with street photography. Let's be honest, in 2023, a lot of people are able to find their footing with some side gigs, extra cash inflow, or full-time in photography, and it's getting more and more people to jump into this creative space. And that's not a bad thing. That is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad that this art, that is something that transcends time, because these images can be carried, especially in the printed form, from generation to generation to generation. That's a huge deal that people are jumping in, because now we have more things that are archived, more perspectives, and more stories being told. Diversity and inclusivity matters, and in photography, that is even larger. Wow. As the kids say, he is spitting. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more into detail about what I mean by this. You see, diversity and inclusivity doesn't have to be just about race, doesn't have to be just about culture. It also means diversity and inclusivity of income. You see, not everyone has the money when they're first beginning photography, whether they're in high school, junior high, young aged adults, or even later on in life, to spend frivolously on lighting equipment, a studio, or renting out a studio and a space, paying models, which you should be doing, especially if, don't do TFP with your models all the time. Spread some love every once in a while. But not everyone has the money to do that. And it's just from this very boomer, I only care about myself perspective when people start hating on certain arts and crafts that don't vibe with them. Like, it doesn't hurt you. It hurts absolutely nobody to go out into the street and take photos of the people, places, and things that are around you, especially if you're respectful while doing so. You see, street photography is amazing because once you get the camera, the lens, the SD card, the film, whatever it is, you've already bought in to be able to create art. You can go and create things that are meaningful to you and to others in your community or people around the world, and you can showcase them without having to spend any extra dollars on all the things I mentioned before. When you talk about taking away these things, I always find it very, very amusing that we never talk about taking away things that have a price point that is a barrier to entry. It's always about things that are accessible to multiple people or the more common people. No one's ever griping about boudoir photography, especially boudoir photography that doesn't pay the model, but we always find a way to gripe about some kind of documentary photojournalism work, and we always find a way to gripe about street photography. It's very telling. Also, what's very telling is a lot of people have really gigantic and outlandish and ridiculous opinions on photography that don't show their photography portfolio and don't show their work. So take that however you want to, but look at people's Instagrams. It'll tell you a lot about if someone's opinion is relevant. But this turns back into everything else. Why do some photographers hate when other photographers are happy? Why do they hate when they're enjoying themselves? And why do they hate when other people succeed? I brought this up in a video that I made about the Joe Greer paradox, where someone who for 10 years was a nobody in photography bought his first Leica in his 20s from a buddy secondhand and just wasn't really getting any traction, all of a sudden starts getting successful, takes very decent images, a lot of times images that a lot of people are trying to replicate, starts getting hated on because he got successful. It's kind of like how sports fans act whenever a team that's an underdog starts winning. They absolutely hate it. And that's what happens in photography. When people start getting successful at something, it's weird to see whenever people react so negatively to their success and to their happiness. People aren't bothering anyone, they're not hurting anyone, they're not doing anything negative, but people will make up reasons why they don't like these people. This happens all the time in YouTube, where YouTubers reach a certain plateau and they have these weird criticisms about smaller channels or bigger channels or other channels for doing the same things that they were doing for a long time or not doing things the way they were doing them. And they always forget that some of these people, if not all these people on YouTube that they're criticizing, enjoy what they're doing. It doesn't matter how they're doing it or what they're doing, as long as they're not someone like a David Wallace rushing in the face and purposely trying to upset people that are older and not in good health, or people that are foreigners and can't speak English well so that he can get a reaction and abusing them in that way. Beyond that, there's really no reason to hate on these other people. I'm not a Tony Northrup fan. I was a fan of him at the beginning whenever I got into digital photography from film, but ever since then, I just don't see any use for him. He's a beginning photographer channel, and the only reason he is because beginning photographers don't know any better, don't know anything about clickbait, and don't recognize when someone blatantly lies. And he lies quite a bit, but he's made a big platform for himself that he's now able to leverage and able to use to pay his bills, and so to that, hands off to you. You can go to Reddit film circle jerk or analog circle jerk and just see people who make really shitty images. I mean, really shitty. Analog circle jerk has some of the worst photographers in film photography, period, on the world. And it's a real circle jerk because literally all they're doing is hyping each other up, and they just pick a new photographer every week to talk shit about. Again, these are people that aren't doing anything with their lives, that are coming in and talking shit about someone they're jealous of and hate that they're happy. I wanted to ask my dog his opinion about this stuff. Come here, bud. He's gonna tell you what he feels about people that talk like this. Here. And it's just weird because I just don't understand what this comes from. There's this scarcity mentality whenever it comes to the arts, that if this person's successful, or if this person gets 100 likes, that's taking 100 likes from me, or if this person gets dollars for an ad from a company like, I don't know, Track Club, who gives amazing, fantastic music like the music you're hearing right now, and who donates a proceed of all of their funds to nonprofit organizations that are helping better life for everyone around us. They hate that stuff. They absolutely hate it. And even more, they hate it whenever you are sponsored by someone who is willing to give you, if you check the link down below in the description, 2 free months of Track Club and getting amazing audio and sound in your videos and your short films as soon as you sign up by clicking that link below. They hate stuff like that. and I just don't understand why. Have you ever taken a look at the lives of your favorite photographers and see whenever they actually not made it big, but got any form of recognition? Right now, we're living in the golden age of people being able to see your work for miles and miles away. Do you understand that even into the early 2010s, people could only see your work if you were there in front of them? Even more, I see people that just hate when people are just happy with what they're doing. Everyone is so hell-bent on being known by every single person and getting their flowers and accolades that they never step back and think of the fact that, do you even value your work without someone else telling you that it's valuable? I love all my work. I think I'm really damn good. Whether it's on Leica, Fujifilm, Canon, Nikon, Sony, anything that I've shot, I'm a really damn good photographer. I don't need someone else to validate what I do and don't do. I think I'm a great videographer. I think I'm a great colorist. I think I'm a great photographer. I think I'm a great editor. Film, whether it's digital, it doesn't matter. I'm really good at what I do. And because of that and that confidence, I believe that's why people hire me to do jobs. My feeling of worth and the feeling that I have of my own work being good isn't contingent on someone wanting to buy a print. It's not contingent on you guys watching this video or saying that you subscribe. I've never asked you to subscribe to me at all in any way, shape, or form. And why? Because I don't need your subscription. I like making YouTube videos. I like making gear reviews. I like making photography philosophy videos. I like making videos like this where we take a deep dive into why people are assholes. And a lot of people hate that. A lot of people hate when you don't cater to them or what they think a purist mindset should be. A lot of people hate when you don't cater to their idea of someone who makes content for them, makes videos for them, makes photos for them, or just lives their life for them. A lot of people have such a huge, and I'm talking about huge, issue with people that are content with what they're doing. I honestly don't think people hate Joe Greer because he's not that good at photography. I don't think people hate Joe Greer because he doesn't deserve what he has, because I mean, he has it, which means he earned it. I really do think people hate him because he's content with where he's at right now, no matter what he does. And he's been content for a while. I think the exact same thing with any big name photographer. People just don't like these people because they're happy in all they're doing. And they think they're just happy because they made it. No, a lot of these people, myself included, are just happy, period. A lot of people like their own work. A lot of people enjoy being out and about, and a lot of people enjoy the highs and the lows because photography is more than just a way to be known to them. And I think people hate that. I truly can't understand why someone would be so bothered with someone else's success instead of working towards their success or being happy for the blessings that they have. Do I want better work assignments and would I love to make, 6 figures doing photography? Absolutely. Am I mad that other people get those opportunities? Even people that I'm aware maybe aren't as good as me or on the same level as me and I don't get the same opportunity? Yeah, sometimes it does bother me. But do I hate that person and do I bitch about it? No, because why would I? I get mad about things like nepotism. That bugs the shit out of me. And in sports photography and journalism and a lot of things, nepotism really is the driving force. It's not about how skilled you are, it's about who you know. And I wish I knew more people. But I'm not gonna live my life talking shit and blaming people for the access they had to certain people that gave them opportunities. Because it's up to them to be able to live up to that. And I wanna reiterate, I'm not mad at Tony Northrup for what he said. He has an opinion. I think the opinion is totally wrong, and the opinion was totally just to be able to get a reaction out of people. Or, which is more likely, which a lot of photographers do because they're going the Henri Cartier-Bresson route, is a lot of photographers just like to be contrarian because they think that it makes themselves feel better. It makes themselves look smarter, and it makes themselves, I don't know, feel different. That's another issue that I have with photography is so many photographers want to feel like they've distanced themselves from everyone else. Oh, I shoot film, everything 35 millimeters, shot on 120. That's awesome, but your images look just about as good as mine on digital, and I can always add grain, and in the end of the day, no one's gonna give a shit. Now again, I'm not calling anyone out directly because this is everyone. I've done this stuff myself as well, and I've had to work on not being angry or gatekeeping about certain things because I wanted to be a photography purist. It's taken a long time. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've had great mentors, and then I've had mentors that really warped my mind and thinking that everything has to be top of the line, spend the most money, buy the brand newest in order to be successful. So this right here, I want to stop on this, and I want to go a little bit more in detail when it comes to talking about this whole thing of insecurity in photography. Insecurity in photography isn't brought up by anything that a photographer is or isn't doing right. Insecurity is something that lies deep within each and every person. If you've never been to therapy, let me tell you, I 100% recommend it, because it's not something that you can fix by you being more famous in photography, by you selling more prints, you getting more jobs, or by other people failing, or by removing a whole genre of photography. That doesn't make you less insecure. All it does is amplify it when the things that are taken away from others or from groups that you thought would make you feel happy doesn't make you feel happy. I'm not saying Tony Northrup is insecure, and I'm not saying people that agreed with him are insecure. I'm just saying that I'm looking at context clues. There's no reason why people should be so hateful and be so vindictive about other people enjoying themselves, about other people enjoying photography and being successful. But for some reason, we play this loop. It's just this continuous, archaic thought that if I can just get everything that I want, then I'll be fine. But it's never enough. You have to make sure someone else doesn't have. Haters, people that bring up the faults of everything, people that have to be contrarian. It is 100% just insecurity being masked. Photographers mask their insecurity in saying big words or who they know, or most likely their gear, or by stupid statements like we should stop shooting street photography. It makes no sense. It's unnecessary, and even more, it's just really sad. Instead of lashing out at these people, you should just feel really bad for them and don't communicate with them, because haters are gonna hate, and leave the hating on them to me. I don't care if people call me a hypocrite, because I believe you truly fight fire with fire. And as I'm about to say in this next clip, I'm gonna give you some really good life advice. Basically this: if you can't fight, don't talk shit, and if you aren't that good at something, don't talk down on it. It's very, very simple. But anyway, I'd love to know your opinion on these things. What exactly do you feel about street photography? Should it end? Should it not? This is a legitimate question on why do photographers hate when other photographers are successful. And this isn't all of them. Not every photographer hates when someone's happy, but it is a lot of people, and it is something that seeps in. And again, you don't have to listen to me. I mean, after all, I'm just a dude not wearing any pants. Who's gonna listen to me? Hot in here. It's like 120. I'm in Texas. So with all that being said, take it light, but take it. Have a good one.